Hello, beautiful human, and welcome to the Sex Love Revolution. I am Kristen Wright, and today I am going to share with you how you can use pleasure to nourish your nervous system. So at the time of recording this, we're in the middle of 2020, and 2020 has felt like a real bucket of water to the face. And so my goal today is to share with you what a valuable resource pleasure can be and what a tool it can be for you right now in these challenging and tumultuous times to nourish your nervous system so that you can show up as the best version of yourself and keep on fighting the good fight. So let's get to it. I'm going to share with you that last week was a really challenging week for me. I found myself stuck in a sort of freeze response within my nervous system. I felt myself dealing with a lot of grief, a lot of white fragility, a lot of frustration, a lot of sadness, as well as a lot of guilt around taking the time to self-care, because I really appreciated how much that is a privilege. But here's the thing, we can't keep showing up, we can't keep fighting, we can't make change for the long haul if we are not caring for ourselves. So in these times of great change, of great challenge, it's so important to be nourishing yourself. And one of the ways you can do that is through pleasure. Now, there are obvious ways in which pleasure is going to nourish your nervous system, but I want to share with you some deeper ways for why it's so valuable. And how I want to start this off is by talking about when you set the intention to achieve pleasure, or when you set the intention to experience pleasure, what can often come up or sort of be in the way of your pleasure is all of the things that are in fact blocking you from experiencing that pleasure. So say you say to yourself, like, I'm going to experience a lot of pleasure, or I'm going to sit down and really enjoy this moment to myself, this meal. I'm going to really enjoy this bath. I'm going to enjoy a delicious orgasm. What could be sitting there might be all your anger, all your grief, all your sadness, all your frustration. So in the quest to find pleasure or to use pleasure as a nourishing tool, it's also important to talk about holding all of what you are experiencing as the pathway to pleasure. So it's not about desiring pleasure and only clinging to that experience of pleasure, but be willing to go there and experience everything else that may be there with your pleasure. And so letting your body move through those feelings. So last week when I was experiencing a lot of hits to my nervous system, showing up in the world as a white woman with privilege, showing up as a mother, showing up as an entrepreneur, showing up as a wife, as a lover, as a member of my community. There's just a lot happening, and I felt like my nervous system was sort of either firing off or in freeze. So what I was doing to help relieve that was shaking. Shaking my body, was dancing and doing horse lips, which is really good for childbirth also. So, send me an email if you want to learn more about that. Dancing, stomping my feet, letting out a little bit of a cry or a yell as I stomped, like a huh, huh, or ah kind of experience. And then once I let that move through me, I was able to be more present with things that felt really good in my body and be able to nourish myself. Because in the end, your emotions, your pleasure is all energy. And so it's able to move through you. It's able to be used in service for good. Sometimes we get stuck in our emotions, or we cling to them, or we cling to the story of them, or the story, for example, of pleasure or the lack thereof, versus just seeing it as energy that can move through you. Sexual energy, for example, is pleasure and turn on in motion. So pleasure is also very sensational, as I call it. It's sensual in nature. When you are fully present with pleasure, you are fully in your body. And so often in these times of challenge or these times of change, of upheaval, stress, we can be really stuck in our head. We can spiral up here in our head, in the story, in the narratives, in the what ifs, in the what's next, in the what to do, and all the rest. And so coming into pleasure brings you in your body. And when you're in your body, you're more apt to move from a place of centeredness, of a place of groundedness, of a place of integrated action, coming from our heart, coming from the wisdom of our womb or our pussy, versus like being in our head where we can kind of be a little bit flighty or flaky. And so pleasure is a tool to bring you into your body, and that in itself is super, super nourishing for your nervous system. And so simple ways to bring pleasure into your life are, having a bath, walking in nature, taking a nap. You can take it further. You can take a moment to really smell something that you really love, or really taste something that you really love, and engaging your senses, and also noticing when you're doing things that bring you pleasure, how does that feel in your body? Where is that sensation exactly? And what exactly does it feel like? And then working to expand that sensation throughout your being. And you can do that with tools like the breath. So breathing into the place of pleasure, of sensation in your body, and inhaling it up and through the body, and exhaling it down the back of the body. So inhaling it in a cycle up and around, or just inhaling into it and exhaling and feeling it expanding throughout your being, like a warm hug or a warm cloak, a warm embrace of feel good medicine. And so that's another way to really focus your attention on your pleasure, to use it to nourish your nervous system. Some other ways could be dancing with yourself. That's one of my favorite. Putting on music that really, really lights me up, or that really brings me joy and pleasure, and just moving my body unscripted. That whole dance like nobody is watching. Really truly doing that, letting the music move through me and nourish me. Or, getting some delicious skin-friendly oil and massaging my body so slowly, and feeling, touching body parts that I don't normally touch, and noticing how I can touch them in ways that feel really, really good. Another way that you can really use pleasure to nourish your nervous system is by cupping your kidneys. So just in the back of your lower back, pausing throughout the day to just take a moment and just breathe into this space as you rub your kidneys, and using your intention and your focus to just send your breath into this space, and feeling your touch and your breath and your awareness really nourish this spot to really help revitalize and sort of bring more energy and vitality into your being. So those are some ways that you can use sensational pleasure, everyday pleasure, to nourish your body. And I hope that you can choose one thing to incorporate into your day to bring you back into this grounded centeredness within, to help you take right action, action that is in alignment with who you are, that is coming from a deeper place of service, of integrity, of groundedness, as I've already said. But I also want to talk about how sexual pleasure, sensual pleasure, erotic pleasure can really support and nourish your nervous system. So often we take our, erotic pleasure and we project it onto somebody else. So we use somebody else to validate our pleasure, or we use somebody else to be seen, as sexy, or to be seen in our pleasure-filled nature or sexual nature, versus the empowering thought that your pleasure is actually for you, that your pleasure is actually nourishment for you, soul food for you, is something to be used for you in service of you rather than in service of others. Wow, right? So often we, maybe have an orgasm and it's like, high five, I did the thing, I had the orgasm, great, sex is over now, good night, or I don't know, good morning, whatever the time of the day it is, without actually thinking that we could use that orgasmic energy, that life force energy, to soothe, to nourish, to revitalize, to replenish our being. So how do we do that? Well, I've already spoken to the fact that sexual energy is pleasure and turn on in motion. So it's about harnessing our pleasure and our turn on and using it to nourish our body, using the motion of that energy to nourish our being, rather than just heat the room, is what Montauk Chia says. We just use our energy and it just goes out and poof, the room's hot and we're done and there's no other thought about it. So we can use our sexual energy in our solo sex practices. We can use our sexual energy when we're making love with another. We can use our sexual energy, cultivate it and harness it through the jade egg. Even just dancing, stroking your body, building turn on and energy, you can use that to nourish your being. And so I've already kind of spoken to ways in which you can do that. You can tune into the sensation of your pleasure, of your eroticism, of your sexual nature. You can tune into that turn on, and you can use your breath. So most often we're feeling it in our genitals, but we can use our breath to expand it throughout our being. We can also use our focus or our movement. And so we can tune in, we can move in ways that help the energy to flow, we can breathe in ways to expand it, and we can use our focus and our awareness to imagine it expanding throughout our being, right? And also within movement is that sense of relaxation and surrendering to it too. So needing to be able to relax our bodies enough to move energy. And so tuning into the sensation, the turn on, the pleasure in your body, you can breathe it up your body, as I've already mentioned. So inhaling, feeling that energy come to the crown of your head, exhaling, bringing the tongue to the top of your mouth, and then sending that energy back down into your genitals. So that's one way. But as you do it, imagining, intending, focusing your awareness on the fact that your energy is nourishing your being. So your energy is infusing your bones with life, is revitalizing your blood, is uplifting your cells. It's nourishing your cells, it's nourishing your soul, it's soul food for your essence and for your being. And so feeling your body drinking up your energy in this cycle, or simply inhaling into the turn on and feeling it expanding throughout your being, imagining your body vibrating at this diamond quality. And so using, these tools to really nourish your nervous system with your sexual energy, rather than just rubbing one out, as some women have said to me, or just having the orgasm or doing the thing. Being very intentional about how we use our energy in our body, and really focusing that as a way to nourish our nervous system, especially in these times that we are living in right now. So as I said, I hope there's something in there for you to take action right away, and that you use your pleasure to truly empower yourself to continue to take right action, to continue to uplift others, to be of service to others, to have the energy to do the work that it takes for all of us to live in this world with equality, with love and kindness for each other, and with equal opportunity. So sending my love to you today. I hope all is well, and I'm wishing you a really graceful rest of 2020. You can always send me an email if you want to know more. You can check out sexloverevolution.com/forward/the goods to check out my latest offering. I'm offering the Together series, which is a beautiful 3 date night experience that you and your lover can do to uplift and elevate your sex and love life. I also do one-on-one coaching to bring women into a deeper state of love and confidence in their body, to feel really alive and empowered in the bedroom, and also really radiant in their lives.